Alright, ladies and gentlemen. So Cradle of Darkness is going to be coming out. It's one of the better UQs. It doesn't drop anything particular except for one important thing. It drops a lot, and I mean a lot, of unique weapon badges, which, whether you just hit 75 or you're a new player, these are probably one of your best earlier ways of getting a 13-star weapon, unless you are using jet boots or a wand. Um, but even if you're not, like if you are a jet boot bouncer, you still want to do this because you can use the unique weapon badges to get the 13 star and then sell that for just a little bit of surplus money to help you get that 13 star. Um, we're going to be doing it on Ultimate, which I don't know if there's any changes to Ultimate, but I guess we'll see. Also, side note, when you're in the lobby, you can go to the rankings, and in the weekly rankings, you'll currently in progress, and you'll see time attack. This is actually one of the main reasons I made this character to begin with. Um, so every Monday, it will update what time attack it wants you to do. In this case, it's Woolpal, um, which is one of the slower ones, as you can see here. If you end up in the top 100, when it finishes up on the preceding Monday, you'll get fun points and you will get star gems. Those are used for everything. So, like if you're a fashionista, obviously the fresh find shop, right? You know, you do this enough combined with getting star gems from your armor or cosmetic armor that you get. Um, you'll probably have enough star gems to always get that. Alternatively, if you're not a fashionista whatsoever, you can use the star gems to either get permanent unlocks, or if you're a premium player, you can get the mission pass, which is it's an excellent value overall for 200 star gems. If you're playing premium, this is kind of like what you want to go for. But if you're a premium player and you're not a fashionista, the rare drop 300, right? For 200 you can get 3. It's a bit of a savings. Not only do you get the 300%, but it also lasts for an hour, as opposed to most effects. So yeah, star gems are quite useful. You can use them to reset your harvesting if it's really important to you. That's kind of a bit of a waste. In the collection folder, you can buy additional sheets. So you see, I actually messed up on my main character, and I bought one of these by accident because I didn't know you had to discard the sheet. But these are at least permanent, and while they're not important now, there's going to be plenty of collection folder events where you can actually get some really good gear. So having that extra piece of that extra slot doesn't bother me all too much.
Goodbye.
Um, you can also get star gems from doing the story missions, especially on hardcore. If you get a story mission done on hardcore with an S rank, you'll get 20 star gems per. Um, the trick around that is doing it on a low level class, essentially, with good gear. So, like for example, I messed up doing that on my main, so I'm waiting for Hero to come out, and I'm already ready with the Lightning Espada, with the Dex Mag, um, just so I can kind of go ham on those and get all the star gems. Um, but another thing, if you're not much of a fashionista, you can get the triggers. Some triggers are definitely more valuable than others. Generally, you want the ones that have the stronger bosses that generally give better loot. So like your elder would be an excellent example, just because it'll help you get shards, and like when they add additional difficulties, right, you can save those triggers, and then when they add additional difficulties, you can do the higher level version, which probably drops items, or usually drops items that are have the potential to be quite strong. So Yes, definitely consider doing your rankings. Um, there's the other ones as well. So rare containers, simple enough. Uh, it's those red chests that you find whenever you're playing. If you want to go hard on this, you just spam suppress Zurigan, and you'll get up there. And then there's personal quarters, which usually that's going to go to like a streamer of sorts, the higher up ones, just because look what I did with my personal quarters, and then they'll all hang out with them. So I don't particularly pay much attention to those two because they require a lot of time, which I'd rather getting better gear. But if you just do a solo time attack, it counts for both solo and group. So even if you just get in the top 100, which should be your goal, just top 100. But it has started, so we'll go in extremely hard because we did get to 70. We'll search multiple just to make sure that we do get that full group. Overall, it's pretty easy. It does also look pretty cool as well. So. And yeah, we'll shift. It's important to note you'll get more badges with a rare booster. So it's always important and nice to get those. Just pop all those. And it's slowly starting to fill up. So full group so far, kind of to be expected. But everything about this UQ is just almost kind of like a little mini time attack if you want to do it properly. So the first area here, we're just going to clear mobs. And as soon as we clear all the mobs, we'll be able to access the computer that lets us push forward. These guys. There's the little barrier that's actually up ahead. Not going to bother going to go point it out, but until you kill them, you're not going to be able to progress. What makes it a bit time attacky is the Destroy the Base event that's currently going with it. If you don't get there fast enough, it can pop, and it just deals a whole bunch of damage, spawns some lots of mobs. It's not particularly fun. Completed. So then they'll pop. There's another one. Spawn back in. And there we go. So we made it to the base, we'll pop that. As soon as it is popped, it will spawn a Zesh Rider. Or Zesh Raider, sorry. And then we just kind of go to the other zone after popping some enemies. Even then, these enemies essentially are optional. You don't have to. Some people like doing it if they're close to a PSE burst, since most of the unique weapon badges come from the mobs that spawn, not the bosses. But you'll find plenty of groups that are just like, meh, zone 2. We're nowhere near a PSE burst, so we're just gonna zone. So, there's one point in here where it'll spawn both Persona, I believe also Dark False Arms, and then there's a different area that'll summon a Ragni, and a Gawanda. Is it a Gawanda? Or whatever it's called. Beetle. Okay. So as for the sound thing, I found that that's actually pretty common once you get to these heavily mob-dense areas. So it's pretty much just going to be a thing that pops up in UQs, so if you do experience it, your computer is not crashing, it's just the game. I'm just recording a video. Demolition comment. I'm curious what the potential What was that? my game just did something trippy because I was in between the airship and the ground. those two dead. I believe we just go up to the personal controller and just destroy it. Drops a little bit of loot. Yeah. So we destroy that. That's the end of the UQ. It'll drop a little bit of loot. Maybe a rare drop or two. But that's about it. Oh, level 15 Megiverse. Is that worth a pretty penny? That's what we try. So far looks like garbage. What's the first 15 sell for? 190k. Okay. Alright, but yeah. That is the Cradle. Have a good one.